Guys, this new perspective that I have now on judgment and other people's opinion has just changed my life. It allowed me to take control over my life and feels like now I'm making decisions for me and based on what I want. If you feel like you're not the one living your life, if you feel like every decision that you make is weighed by other people's opinion, or that you're not the one living your life and you're not making decisions for yourself, listen, this perspective might free you instantly. In this video, I'm gonna give you a perspective on judgment that will allow you to detach yourself from other people's opinion and judgment in general. And then give you some elements so you can detach yourself emotionally from people's opinion, and at the end tell you how you create that new life of yours, that new world. But before I start, I feel like I need to give you my own definition of judgment so we can be on the same page and avoid any misunderstanding. Judgment is the fact that you assign meaning to a situation, and at the end you render a verdict. Good, bad, wrong, right, okay, not okay, maybe, maybe not, some kind of verdict. The meaning that you give to the situation, okay, let me put something clear. When I say you, it might be you or someone else. The way that you perceive the situation is based on what you know. A judgment is based on a perception. And your perception of a situation is very limited. It is limited to what you see, hear, think, and also the way you connect the dots. All of this is specific to you. The way you connect the dots and make the link between cause and effect is specific to one person. You're gonna give a meaning from point A to point B based on what you know of yourself. If you were in that situation, this is the reason why you would have done something, or this is why you would have said something. But this way of connecting the dots is different from one person to another. So when you're judging a situation, you assess it from your point of view. If it was you living the situation, which has nothing to do with the other person. The meaning to give to a situation is based on what you know of yourself, not what you know of the person that you are watching or whatever. And on top of that, your perception is very limited. It is limited to what you see on that moment in time. It is limited to what you're hearing. The person might be lying. You have no idea what that person is feeling. Maybe that person admires you. Maybe that person is not natural with you. And maybe the person is telling you half-truths. So you have no idea. I mean, what you hear is extremely limited. You don't even know if what you're hearing is true. What you hear depends on how you process things in your head, how you interpret things. You don't know what the person is thinking, for example. You don't know what happened just before you seeing this situation. So your perception is limited. Any logic that you will apply on a situation will be based on that limited perception that you have of a situation. So your logic might be rock solid, but unfortunately it is only limited to what you know. So that doesn't make it true just because it is logic. And now for the interpretation, the analysis that you make of a situation. Unless you are a trained psychologist or a psychiatrist, or you have learned how to listen to people and ask questions without judging what you're hearing, unless you're a great listener, it's going to be very hard for you to assess a situation precisely, objectively. So basically what you're doing is projecting your own value system, your own fears, your own thought patterns, your own self onto the situation that you're watching. Meaning what? Meaning that when someone has an opinion of you, this opinion is based on the few information that the person knows about the situation, about you. And it is also based on the way that this person experience life. So basically, when that person is having a opinion on you, that person is only projecting his own self on you. You see how someone's opinion has nothing to do with you and everything to do with the person stating that opinion? To me, this is very liberating. But it is more liberating when I am having an opinion on something. And you can see also how this way of seeing things goes beyond judgment. It goes far beyond that. It also includes when you are assessing a situation, when you are observing a situation, when you are experimenting life in general, means that it's a projection of yourself. So when I feel paranoid, I don't know if you can relate to that, but sometimes I feel paranoid. I have the impression that everyone has a bad opinion of me for some reason. Now, when I feel paranoid, I am able to tell myself, to ask myself if it isn't me projecting my own fears on these people or on this situation. So, next time you believe someone is judging you, ask yourself first, aren't you the one projecting your own fears onto the situation? And you'll see your relationships with people, your relationships in general will get better. You will feel more at peace and the relationships will be more easy. You see, this perspective alone can be enough for a lot of us in a lot of situations. This perspective can free you instantly, but sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes even when you know that the judgment is not related to you, you still feel triggered by that opinion for some reason. I believe that the reason is specific to each person, and that if you want to know why you're still getting triggered, even if you know that the opinion has nothing to do with you, you might have to feel what are you feeling when you're being judged and dive deep and dig to understand the core reason, the core wound, the core trauma, whatever, the core reason why you're still being triggered. What is emotionally binding you to that judgment? I can tell you for me what it was. For me, I realized that I was bound, I was chained to the concept of good and bad. But not the good and bad like evil versus light. No, it's more like the right and wrong. I did the right thing or I did something wrong. I don't know why, for what reason. I don't want to be perceived as someone who cannot make good decisions for herself. Like, oh, because she cannot make good decisions for herself, you have to take over her and take care of her and put her in some kind of custody because she's not an adult. I cannot tell you why I do have that fear, that anxiety around being immature and not being able to make good decisions for myself. That fear of being controlled and taken under someone else's responsibility and take control, and now I cannot make decisions for myself. I'm sure that it is related to some kind of childhood pain. I don't want to say trauma because trauma is a very strong word, but it might be a childhood trauma. I feel like it is also linked to that kind of education that I got and a lot of us have received in the past, where when you're making a decision, it has to be good for you regardless of what you want. What you want, what you desire, does not matter when we are making decisions. All decisions must be based on logic, based on what is good for you and what is bad for you. Maybe that's one of the reasons why I am so bound to that concept of making good decisions and making bad decisions. And making good decisions, even if this is not what you want, is triggering and very painful for me. And you know where it was even more painful is when someone might tell you that this is the good decision, the good thing to do for you, but this is not what I want for myself. It is good, but to what end? Good for what? Where does this concept of right and wrong come from? Okay? Where does it come from? Good for what? Right for what? It has to be based on my objective, on my goals. It must be based on what I want for my life. It cannot just be a decision to be made because it's a good decision. And sometimes I even find it insulting when someone is telling me what is good for me when that person does not have a clue on what I want, what I truly want, what I'm thinking, what I did for myself, when the person has no information on me. Sometimes I feel it insulting and disrespectful. But hey, I believe that when I get to that total detachment, this will not count. I know that I still have some digging to do with shadow work to understand exactly why I feel this way. And because I have worked on self-validation, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out my video on self-love and you'll understand why is it important. I feel like it's okay. I can get away with just saying that I do whatever I want and it's okay. I do good things for me too. There are things that I do in my life that are good for me. I know how to take care for me, but sometimes I do wrong choices and it's okay. That doesn't mean I'm not feeling triggered. I still feel triggered, but I'm able to move on because I validate myself. What I'm feeling, what I want, my desires, what I do, and how I think. I'm not yet totally detached emotionally from the judgment because I'm still relying on the fact that I am making good decisions for myself elsewhere. The point where I would like to get is whatever the decisions that I make for myself, wrong or whatever, even if I decide to make only wrong decisions for myself, I don't care. This is my life, not yours. I do whatever I want. This is the place where I want to get. I'm not saying that I want to live a life where I make only wrong decisions for my life. I'm saying that I want to be free from that concept, feel nothing when someone is judging me for what I'm doing. I will be able to say, that's a good thing, but I don't feel like it's a good fit for me, and without feeling triggered. So this is why it is important to me to dive deep and to heal the wound to the core so you can have better relationships with people and easy conversations and easy exchange. This is the point where I want to get. It's total detachment. But for now, I feel at peace. It's okay. I can manage with it. I am able to take control over my life with the level where I am in right now. I can hear you right now saying, oh no, I'm not concerned about that, because me, when I want something, when I believe in something, I do it, and I don't care about what people think. I used to say that too, because somehow it's true. It is true. But when you start digging your feelings of insecurity, you realize that that's exactly what is making you so uncomfortable, what is making you feeling so insecure. So give it a try. I mean, next time you feel insecure or uncomfortable or something's not right with a situation with someone, ask yourself, dig deeper, ask yourself, what are you feeling, and see if judgment is not hiding maybe 3, 4, 5 layers under. If judgment is not there hunting you. That we understand that someone's opinion has nothing to do with us, and that we understand why we are emotionally bound to judgment and we're able to diffuse it. The next step is to create what I call the I space. This step is, now that you are able to make decisions based solely on what you want and what you desire, the I space to me is a world that you create around you with your own set of values, your own set of rules, your activities that support only and solely your well-being, your life. This is so important. I've seen it on other people's life. Not a lot. 1 or 2 people. You create a world where only you exist, and everyone else is just one block outside of your world who has nothing to do with that bubble. Let's dive deeper into that concept of I space and learn how we can build yours in another video. Bye.